What if I told you that money stops being stressful at three very specific numbers? Not when you're rich, not when you're a millionaire 10 times over, just three milestones. And once you hit them, something strange happens. Bills stop scaring you, job loss stops terrifying you, and for the first time, money actually starts feeling easy. This is Ron, and today I'm breaking down the exact net worth milestones where life shifts from financially stressful to financially comfortable. These aren't fantasy numbers reserved for the ultra-wealthy. They're realistic, achievable targets that most disciplined savers can hit within a working lifetime. And I'm going to show you exactly what changes at each one, what it feels like, and what you need to do to get there faster. Before we dive in, if you're serious about building real wealth and living a life where money isn't a constant source of anxiety, hit that like button and subscribe. This channel is all about helping you understand exactly how money works. So let's get into it. Let's start with the foundation of this whole conversation. Why does net worth even matter more than income? Because income pays your bills today, but net worth is what protects you tomorrow. It's the buffer between you and chaos. It's the difference between panicking when your car breaks down and simply paying for the repair without a second thought. So let's talk about the first major milestone. Milestone 1. The stability number. $100,000. This is the first real turning point. Before this number, most people are living paycheck to paycheck, with debt eating into every dollar they earn. But once your net worth crosses $100,000, something shifts psychologically and financially. At this stage, you typically have an emergency fund covering 3 to 6 months of expenses. You've paid off high-interest debt, or you're close to it. You have some investments growing in the background, whether that's a retirement account, a brokerage account, or both. And most importantly, you have breathing room. A surprise expense doesn't derail your entire month anymore. This is often called the hardest milestone to reach, and for good reason. The first $100,000 requires discipline without much help from compound interest, because the snowball hasn't built up enough size yet. You're doing the heavy lifting through saving, budgeting, and consistent contributions. But here's the encouraging part. Once you hit this number, growth accelerates. If you're earning a reasonable return on your investments, that $100,000 can roughly double in around 7 to 10 years without you adding another single dollar. That's the power of compounding finally kicking in. At this stage, money starts feeling less terrifying. You're not rich. You're not comfortable in the way we're about to describe. But you've built a foundation. You've proven to yourself that you can save, invest, and grow your money. And that confidence matters just as much as the dollar figure. Milestone 2. The comfort number. $500,000. This is where things start to feel genuinely different. At a net worth of $500,000, you're no longer just surviving financial setbacks, you're absorbing them with ease. By this stage, many people own a home with significant equity, or they're renting by choice rather than necessity. Retirement accounts are growing substantially, often benefiting from years of compound growth on top of consistent contributions. Investments outside of retirement accounts may also be generating passive income, whether through dividends, interest, or rental income. Here's where the psychology of money really shifts. At $500,000, a job loss isn't a crisis, it's an inconvenience. You have enough of a financial cushion to take your time finding the right next opportunity instead of panicking and accepting the first offer that comes along. Medical emergencies, major home repairs, and unexpected expenses become manageable line items rather than financial disasters. This is also the stage where many people start asking different questions about money. Instead of, how do I survive this month? The question becomes, how do I optimize my taxes? Or should I retire early? Or how do I make my money work harder for me? The entire relationship with money transforms from defensive to strategic. Reaching this milestone typically takes a combination of consistent saving, smart investing, and time. The compounding effect becomes incredibly powerful here. Money invested in your 20s and 30s has decades to grow, and by the time you're approaching this $500,000 mark, a significant portion of your net worth often comes from growth rather than direct contributions. This is genuinely the stage where many people start to feel like money has stopped being a source of constant stress. It doesn't mean you can spend recklessly, but it does mean the fear is largely gone. Milestone 3. The freedom number. $1 million and beyond. Now, we arrive at the big one, the number that's become almost mythical in personal finance conversations: $1 million in net worth. At this stage, using a conservative withdrawal strategy, many people can generate somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 a year in passive income without ever touching the principal. Combined with other income sources, this often means living quite comfortably, sometimes even covering all essential expenses without needing to work at all. This is the stage where, when money gets easy, truly applies. Vacations don't require months of saving up. Restaurants, hobbies, and lifestyle choices become decisions based on preference rather than affordability. The anxiety that used to accompany checking your bank account simply disappears. But here's something important to understand about this milestone. The jump from $500,000 to $1 million often happens faster than the jump from 0 to $500,000. Why? Because compound interest is working on a much larger base. If your money is growing at a reasonable average rate, doubling from $500,000 to $1 million can sometimes take less time than it took to build that first $500,000 from scratch, especially if you're still contributing along the way. At $1 million and beyond, most financial pressure evaporates. You're no longer worried about whether you can retire someday. You're deciding when and how you want to retire. You're no longer worried about emergencies because you have layers of financial protection built up. This is genuinely when money gets easy. What these milestones actually mean for your daily life. Let's bring this back to something practical. These numbers aren't just abstract targets. They represent real shifts in daily experience. At the $100,000 mark, you stop feeling like every paycheck is a tightrope walk. At the $500,000 mark, you stop feeling like one bad month could unravel everything you've built. And at the $1 million mark, you stop feeling like work is mandatory for survival. It becomes optional, a choice rather than a necessity. The key takeaway here is that these milestones build on each other. The discipline you develop reaching the first one makes the second one easier. The habits and investment strategies you refine reaching the second one accelerate your path to the third. Nobody jumps straight to $1 million. It's built in layers, milestone by milestone. How to reach these milestones faster. So how do you actually get there? A few principles consistently show up among people who successfully reach these numbers. First, automate your investing. People who consistently set aside a percentage of their income before they have a chance to spend it tend to build wealth far more reliably than those who try to save whatever is left over at the end of the month. Second, increase your income over time. While cutting expenses matters, there's a limit to how much you can cut. There's no limit to how much you can potentially earn. Many people who reach these milestones combine disciplined saving with deliberate efforts to grow their income through career advancement, side income, or business ventures. Third, understand the power of time in the market. The earlier you start investing, even with small amounts, the more time compound growth has to work in your favor. Someone who starts investing modest amounts in their 20s often ends up ahead of someone who starts investing larger amounts in their 40s, simply because of how compounding works over decades. Fourth, avoid lifestyle inflation that outpaces your income growth. As income rises, many people increase their spending at the same rate, which means their net worth never really grows despite earning more. The people who reach these milestones fastest tend to keep their lifestyle relatively stable, while their income and investments grow underneath them. So let's bring it all together. The first milestone, $100,000, builds your foundation and proves you can save and invest consistently. The second milestone, $500,000, brings real comfort and turns financial stress into financial strategy. And the third milestone, $1 million, is where money truly gets easy, where work becomes optional, and security becomes the default state of your life. None of these numbers happen overnight, and none of them require lottery winnings or extreme luck. They require consistency, patience, and a willingness to let time and compound growth do the heavy lifting alongside your own efforts. Wherever you are on this journey right now, know that progress compounds, both your money and your habits. If this video gave you some clarity on where you stand and where you're headed, let me know in the comments which milestone you're working toward right now. And if you found this valuable, make sure you're subscribed, because we break down exactly how money works on this channel every single week. This is Ron, and I'll see you in the next one.